and I'm worried now that I'm going to cause more damage because there's no air between the rock and the rim. Start pulling the 80 feet of winch rope off, right? And then I get down to the bottom and the bolt is rusted. Michael went all Hulk on it and hit it with a sledgehammer / axe handle. You go out there and play around with it and just keep building it and try it. And if something works, great. If it doesn't, you figure it out. I'm Keenan Campbell, overlanding with intention, and you're watching The Trailhead.
Rev it up, let it roar, feel the ground shake. Pedal down, dust flying, no time to waste. The trailhead's calling, engine power on a roll. This is where trails start and stories unfold. On the starlit skies, where the wild things roam. Every trail a journey, every Jeep a home. Meet me at the trailhead, where the wild ones run. The dust kicks high and the day's not done. With the road wide open, the dirt in our soul. This is where trails start and our stories unfold.
Welcome to the Trailhead, everybody. I am JD. Tonight, we are kicking off a new spotlight series for Trail Hero Expeditions, which happened earlier this year and is now airing and available on whatever network that I managed to fill in here with a video dub. I'm pretty sure that it's Speed Sport 1, which is available on Tubi, and it's actually a lot of households, and a lot of people have access to it for free. So this will be tonight we're actually sitting down with the first of 12 teams, and Keenan Campbell of Overlanding with Intention is joining us for the interview seat tonight. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm just living the dream. I'm
living the dream, he says.
I'm in the air conditioning, not sitting, in the middle of the desert for a week. So yeah, I'm good.
The first couple days was rough, man. The first couple days, the heat was just, it was oppressive. It was oppressive.
It was oppressive. I had a failed winch and I had to be in the heat all day Friday before we even left. Or Saturday.
Oh, that's right.
So,
that's
yeah.
right. All right. We'll talk about your winch failure on just before the event, because it's not like you need one for an event where it potentially could be part of the competition.
Sure.
All right. All right. Well, let's get started. I want to talk about you first, just to get to know who you are. And because I think that when folks watch the show, everybody's going to kind of get a snippet of each individual person and each individual team. And this is kind of your opportunity to tell us a bit about yourself. So let's start off with where you're from and where you're at now.
So I grew up in Illinois. Grew up in the smallest county in the state. Spent 27 years as an emergency manager, first responder, firefighter, all of that stuff, and realized after a 30-day overlanding trip to the desert that it's a lot cooler than Illinois. I'm sorry for all my family that still lives there. That's their problem, not mine. So I got rid of everything.
Know in their heart.
Got rid of everything I owned and kept the minimum of what I had left and moved to Las Vegas. So, and I don't drink or gamble, fun fact. So picked Vegas, did a rocket launch here, and now getting ready to be full time and right next to Sand Hollow State Park where everybody goes. So that'll be the full adventure of me. But after 27 years of winters and working and being out in it, and I love snow, but man, do I not like the cold and Illinois politics.
Oh, good Lord. Congratulations on getting out.
Mm-hmm.
As a recovering Chicagoan myself, I feel the pain coming from the Midwest. When you come out west, you get a taste for it, and that's what happens. You end up moving out here, and that's what happened to me.
Well, the striking thing was in Illinois, everything is private property. So if you go off road, you're trespassing.
Mm-hmm.
Out west, 90% is public property, and you can drive and open gates and close gates. And there's gentlemen's agreements that have been around for hundreds of years that, there was no opportunities for outdoor rec in Illinois. You could go to a state park, you could find the mud hole or whatever with your buddies. I had a Jeep. I've had a Jeep for years. I bought it new and built it over the years. And I thought, I'm really not exploring the full potential of this beast. And when the opportunity arose to move west, I did. I took it and haven't looked back. It's amazing to be able to. I tell people, for a kid from Illinois to be able to explore, like drive anywhere you want to drive and just go cruise on a gravel road. People that haven't experienced it, I feel bad for them. I really do.
Yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it's something that when you get out here and you experience the ability to drive onto public lands and just explore and see what is out there, like there's just millions of acres out there that to explore and check out. Then you can get there with four wheels. Then, oh, it's beautiful. And that's the other thing. It's absolutely beautiful.
We used to camp and explore. My dad was an electronics inventor, so we went all over the world exploring. But it was always you camped at a campground, or you were there. So I remember the first time I went on this big adventure and had OnX and I was looking at the map, and I'm a planner because I was an emergency manager, so everything had to be planned. And it was literally, you just pull over and there's camp. To me, it was super uncomfortable. I was really weirded out at first. Like, what do you mean I can just park here and camp? Isn't that trespassing? And so it was something you have to get used to it when you realize, wait, these public lands are ours. We can just park here, and then somebody else can park here, and you don't need a reservation. You don't have to pay. You're not going to the KOA or Yogi Bear. That was the coolest thing for me, that you could just find lands, be respectful, and just camp. So,
yep. I had my first experience with that on the way to this trip, and just finding a spot, finding a BLM road and being like, oh, this whole road's open for camping. Awesome. Just drive in, find a spot, set up for the night. It was one of those things where I woke up in the next morning and I'm just like, I could really get used to just doing that. Like, that's just so much better for them than spending money on a hotel, and the views are so much better usually.
Yeah.
Real quick, did you say something about a rocket launch?
I did.
Could you care to expand on that? Because I feel like that's a big cliffhanger out there. You just came out to Vegas and launched a rocket and left.
So when COVID hit, that was actually the impetus to coming out here. When COVID hit, there was a group of video production people all over the world that started meeting on Zoom. Well, as an emergency manager, we did the live productions. We did everything for the county. A disaster strikes, you got to have the cameras, the microphones, press conferences, all that stuff. So I was always looking for ways to be a good steward of my county funds and buy the right gear and the right equipment. There's so many options and choices. So a friend of mine introduced me to office hours. It was a daily Zoom meeting every day. Hundreds of people sat there, and it was led by some of the industry experts, but they were all out of work. TV shows were shut down. Movies weren't being produced. So all these guys are sitting at home, and they started sharing their knowledge. You could ask questions. I'll never forget the first time I met the gentleman that invented the teleprompter. He's on our group. Literally, Courtney, he's there, and I can ask him questions about teleprompters. He's the guy that invented the first one. And there's all these heavy hitters in video production. So we started that every day. It was a couple hours a day. So I would sit at my office and I'd be on this Zoom meeting asking questions and just learning everything I could. Met, vendors, met industry leaders. And these are people that have done Hollywood movies, TV productions, big companies. These are the heavy hitters of the industry. So I'm a small guy from Illinois, and they brought me in. So I used to live stream from my county Tahoe. The citizens don't believe what the weather is doing unless you show them. So I put a camera, a laptop, microphone, and I would literally do Facebook Live road checks driving around in a blizzard and show them Interstate 80 looks like this. You don't want to be out. If you didn't already get, the best part was we had it all produced, and I would answer the questions that came into Facebook while I was driving live.
That's awesome.
So the engagement went through the roof. 50,000 views, 100,000 views for a county of 40,000 people was crazy. And so at one point I said, give me a ruthless review is what they called it. They would check your camera, your microphone. They would give you this ruthless review of your setup. So I
Yeah.
sent that video in and I said, I'd really like a ruthless review. I want you guys to kind of tell me what I could do better. And they lost their minds. It was so cool. They're like, come on the show. So that kind of solidified me in office hours. And a good friend of mine was a rocket guy. He shot amateur rockets, but like 12-foot amateur rockets. These aren't
Okay.
little. These are like 15 or 20,000 feet up. They go. And we were talking one day, and another friend of mine, Chris Fenwick, he owned a video production company, did our video editing. They edited videos for all these customers. We were talking to John, and we told John, we should stream this rocket launch that you're planning and do it with graphics like SpaceX and just do it. Just do it for a production out in the middle of the desert. COVID's over. We're starting to get to that point. Well, that snowballed into a 35-person production crew in the middle of a dry lake bed. Our graphics guy was a gentleman from Finland that literally flew to Las Vegas and built our entire graphics package, ran it on the show, telemetry, everything. And we had all of these all of these technical people, editors, directors, cameramen, audio guys, they're all there because they had nothing to do. And it was a project. So we called it O Space, which was office hour space. And we launched a rocket in the middle of a dry lake bed, 7 miles from behind the Magic Mountains. If you've been to Las Vegas, we were literally in the middle of a desert, had an entire production camp, production trucks and trailers, brought all this gear in, power, generators, internet, everything. And we launched John's rocket. So that was
That's impressive.
that's what started the whole adventure. That's kind of the nickel tour of me. And I realized after a month in the desert and on vacation and shooting rockets that, being a 24/7 on-call emergency manager for a county, it's tiring. So new opportunities and just got out of Illinois. I've never been a fan, honestly. You know that. We're not.
Yep.
Everybody that lives there knows they hate it. They just can't. It's just there's two types of people in Illinois: the ones that are going to leave and ones that can't. So
that's a very, very true statement.
So I had went through a pretty bad divorce and lost 90% of my stuff already. So I thought, you know what, time for a change, new opportunities, new adventures, and just jumped.
All right. Well, I mean, less stuff to move with, I guess.
True.
And
True.
there's that. But I mean, and I have discovered that sometimes the hardest, what feels like the hardest moments in life end up being the most transformative.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I ended up in Colorado. I got laid off. My mother passed away, and all in one day. And it's just when those things happen, there's a reason, like something the universe is trying to do something, and it's trying to adjust. And
and I agree with you. Fate aligns, and things you go in directions that you're pushed for whatever reason, and that's kind of the nickel tour of it. And
okay,
I have
So are you doing, that's what you're doing now, is the film production, and that's what Overlanding with Intention is?
Yeah. So Overlanding with Intention started as, I saw people, when you go to the expos, they're buying every widget. They're buying everything, every new piece of equipment. And I always told people, you just need to be intentional with what you're doing. That the intentional word means a lot of stuff. It can mean stuff, intentional with what camp stove you have, what bathroom, all that stuff. But it also can be intentional on what are you getting out of nature? What are you doing for yourself? I personally, I really enjoy just going out and living homeless for a week or a couple of days or a long weekend. But it's very intentional. You can look at nature. And I said that earlier in the week. I said, I feel bad for people that drive Priuses because they can't even see all this stuff. It's true. And you don't need the biggest built rig. You don't need a rock crawler buggy. You just need a vehicle that's capable for what you want to do. I've went on trips with guys that are in, Jeep Grand Cherokees, and they wheel them. And that works for them. That's intentional for them. But everything we do, we need to do it with intention, and whatever that is. I can't answer that for anyone, because that's kind of the idea of this, is that it's intentional for what works for you. But the gear side of it is something that people are always asking me, what stuff do you have? What things? And I said, I've kind of built my Jeep as a Swiss Army knife. I don't have back seats. They're gone. There's a platform there. There's stuff under the platform. There's a fridge on top, but it's fun to do. You know, they say that Jeeps are Legos for adults.
Yeah,
And
they are.
that's how I look at it. I bought it stock and just kept building it and found things that work, found things that didn't work, and you just keep with intention on what do you want to use your rig for, and take care of it. A big thing that we do, my Jeep's an '08, so
Hmm.
it's older and I'll never get rid of it. I don't need a brand new one. I don't care. I don't care to have a brand new Jeep. Mine's built the way I like it, and yeah, it's underpowered and it might need a Hellcat motor after riding in Michael's, but you know, the thing is, you don't need the brand new vehicle to do it if maintenance is important. So I
Right.
have done a few segments on how do you keep your vehicle running, how to, you know, take care of the vehicle, it'll take care of you. And as you saw, you know, you have an older JK, so
Hmm.
they run if you take
Oh
care of
yeah.
them.
I mean, many listeners of this show will tell you that I cling to my lifetime Mopar warranty, but for good reason. I mean,
Hmm.
it's still a Jeep, it's still a vehicle. I still use the hell out of it. And when you use stuff like that, you're going to break stuff. It's just what happens. It's the nature of what we do.
Or bury
So
it to the axles in the sand.
look, once that happened one time.
I just wish you would have. I wish you would have used the Jeep to pull it out. I'm just saying.
I didn't have a choice in that moment, and I knew I wasn't going to have a choice in that moment.
It's okay.
So
We'll give you
I
one. We'll give you a hall pass on that action.
well, let me put it this way: I might still be able to post it without actually showing what pulled me out. We'll see how that goes.
If you're that good of
So,
an editor, we can make that work. Sand's really forgiving to chroma key.
well, when you're going from a 4x16 to actually that does make sense. And look, Premiere Pro is doing a lot of really cool stuff these days. So essentially, you went from doing EMS stuff now to video production, and you're kind of trying to you're essentially just a YouTube channel at this point, or what's the goal?
So I actually started when the space project started. I was doing Instagram, and I had somebody that created it for me and said, "Well, your Jeep needs an Instagram," and I started doing that. And okay, nobody wants to see this. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
another ugly mug. So the Jeep has its own Instagram, and I started doing that, and I started posting crazy reels and just fun, all heartfelt, good, clean content. And when Overlanding with Intention came out, we thought, let's do a series, but let's drop it quicker than most YouTubers are posting one video a week or two a month. And we thought, why don't we pre-build content, which is a risk because you can't look at the metrics, you can't see your view numbers but I don't really care.
right,
So the idea is we're gonna shoot a bunch of episodes and then drop them in rapid succession, which it's going to help us, but it'll hurt us in the end because we won't be able to keep up.
right.
The other problem with that is maybe we do once every 2 weeks or whatever, but we wanted to have time to explore. I don't want to be a YouTuber as a job because you lose your travel. You now beholden to followers, and so
Yeah,
it's not a good business model. It's great if you're a, you know, a multi-million stream YouTuber and you can, you know, hire staff, but most of us are editing on our own and shooting content and trying to go out and enjoy. And I have a problem shooting content when I explore. I just want to
mm.
explore. I have problem on trail rides because I don't think of the video side of it. And my friend who's a massive editor, he always complains. He's like, bad content's better than no content. Well, sometimes you get lost in the travel, and I just don't shoot video. And
Yeah,
so it's hard for me. There's some YouTubers that do it really well. So I don't think I'll ever want to claim I'm a YouTuber.
okay,
I want to put content out that people like and work with brands that have a product that we love. Small business. I will pick a small business over a corporation sponsor any day. I like the smaller companies, the mom and pop shops. So that's what we're trying to focus on. There are some medium sized companies that we do work with, but it's only because they make the best products and they fit what we do.
okay,
So I really like to focus on the smaller companies, the startup companies, things like that, and find a niche for overlanding. The other thing is that, you know, people are starting to realize they can work from anywhere. So the van lifers, they're buying these, several $100,000 RVs and going out and being able to work remotely or travel nursing. And there's a whole new industry just of people that don't want to be stuck in an office or stuck at home. So
Yep.
that's who I really want to cater to and show them, hey, there's ways you can have a full edit suite set up. You can do work from a tent essentially. So that's kind of the premise of it. I don't think it'll ever, I hope it's something successful, but to measure success it's hard, especially with YouTube, because most of the time they sell their soul. So I don't ever want to get away from just taking the Jeeps out and going for a cruise and building stuff and kind of capturing it. So that's been and then doing the events. That's the other side of it is I've trail guided with Winter 4x4 and Trail Hero. So it's really fun. Last year we had take disabled veterans with us on a trail ride.
Those are awesome.
I mean,
runs.
we literally picked the guy up and respectfully put him in the front seat of a Jeep because he couldn't walk or he had no legs. And to those, I would take a vet every day. Put those guys in, let's get them out there. So that mission is awesome. And, I really enjoy doing that. And again, YouTube can get in the way of those kind of events because you're always trying to capture cheeky content that's going to get views. And
yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. I think we've entered a really weird stage of influencers and almost a reaction to it, where if you try too hard to be a quote unquote influencer, the backlash is there. It's people don't want to hear it. They're just and there's the other piece of it too, where and part of the reason this show exists is because I think some of the off-road community has been really narrowcast, where they're like, well, this product you can only use in an off-road environment, or this product you can only use in an overland environment, and never the two shall meet. Those two user groups shouldn't even interact. And it's just like, no, we should all be sharing these tips and tricks about where we want to go and be so that we can get further away from each other.
Well, and that's what I've told people, you can build a rock crawler and go overlanding. You could build a UTV. I was at Overland Expo in Denver and I saw Polaris's new Expedition UTV. And I thought, if I had a UTV, that'd be the one I'd buy because it's got doors and windows and air conditioning. And, those guys that eat dust for 3 hours, hey, if that's your jam, I'm not judging you, but I like air conditioning and not eating. I eat enough dust as it is inside my Jeep, let alone getting out on an open cab. But and we have friends that are hardcore rock crawlers. My Jeep's too top heavy. I can't rock crawl with it. I'll tip it over. And I know its limitations because it's not built for that, but it doesn't mean they're not my friends. And it doesn't mean they have a buggy and, we can coexist on the overlanding space. And you're right. I want to get to the place so we can get as far away from each other as possible. Doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means I don't want to be next to you. So that's something that the education piece that I've camped in BLM land and you wake up and the headlights are right in front of you. And it's like, guys, come on. It's my biggest pet peeve is why are you pulling into my site? Just give me some space. Or the people that walk up and go, hey, can we camp here? Well, I'd prefer you didn't.
Like there's so much space. Like you just drive a little bit further, just go look a little bit more.
Well,
like
that's like been one of my biggest pet peeves. Can we camp here? No, I prefer you didn't. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but the idea is we have billions and billions of square miles in this world of land and you have to be within 50 feet. Come on. The other ones are the tent savers, I call them, where they put a tent up 3 weeks ago. And I don't know if you've experienced that yet. That's a thing.
No, that's a new one. I've not heard of this before.
I went up to Mount Charleston. We had friends coming from everywhere. We were actually going to put a rooftop tent on, do a video about it. And I go to the spot that I wanted on like a Wednesday, and there's 2 tents already on the site, nobody around. They didn't show up till Saturday. So they literally go pitch their tent and leave just to tent save.
To save the space.
Mm-hmm. So stuff like that bothers me, that and the amount of trash I see really ticks me off. That just, come on, how hard is it to take your garbage with and quit burning pallets in the desert?
Yeah, that's a big one. I don't think people think about enough. Like, just don't burn that stuff out in the desert. Someone's going to roll over it. Someone's going to step in it.
Well, and even
it's not going to.
Yeah, it's even on Sand Hollow. It's a problem with nails in the desert. And So that's why another part of the overlanding with intention is teaching people to be good stewards of the land, because if we don't, it's gone. It will be a housing development, or it will be closed, and the walkers and the bikers will get it, and the hikers, which I have nothing against all those folks. But if we don't take care of the land, somebody's going to just close the trails, and they're going to
Yeah.
they're going to change it. And that's a big problem right now. And it's been a problem in the West. And, since I've gotten here, I didn't realize it was a thing, but it's definitely becoming a thing. So we try to do education
Mhm.
and bring that piece in to say, if you're going to go out there, make sure you if there's a trash can, or if there's a beer can or a beverage can, just take it with you, throw it in your lugaloo, and out you go, or your trasharoo. So
Yeah. It's not hard to pick up your trash in the first place, but on the other hand, the nice part is I think there's more of us that are out there picking it up than there are leaving it behind. So
I hope so.
it just it is frustrating when you go out there and you find a tire in the middle of the trail and you're just like, really, come on, like just
Yeah.
find a place to dispose of it that's
Take
not here.
take it to a tire shop, and they'll take it for $1. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah, the tires, the furniture, that stuff really bothers me. And so we really want to focus on some of those causes.
Hmm.
I had just did a reel a couple months ago. People spray painted directions on the red rocks for a trail.
Hmm.
That drove me nuts. Like, luckily we were able to have somebody came out and pressure washed it off, but it's like, come on, guys, you're defacing public property. Or the guys that try to push the rocks. First off, you're probably going to die because the rock's going to win. And secondly, you're defacing public lands. The tread
Yeah.
lightly, leave no trace, all that stuff. So that's something that we're working on integrating in, because I feel like there are recreational overlanders that either have an ill-prepared vehicle or an ill-equipped vehicle. And I really want to try to help those folks so they understand what they're getting themselves into.
Right. Yeah.
So that's
It's
kind of the premise of it. It's going to be more of an educational YouTube more than entertainment. That's kind of where we're going with it. So we'll see
okay.
the problem is that if we shoot all these episodes and they bomb, they're going to bomb. We don't have any way to adjust because they're going to bomb.
Yeah. Well,
So there's that. And if it
that's all
happens,
right.
it happens.
Shoot the moon, man. I mean,
Yeah,
seriously,
exactly.
it's just got to
Exactly.
go for the best of the best. All right. So are you doing anything else then for a day job, or is it just off-roading in this?
I retired. So,
Okay.
yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Very nice. All right.
So I have other irons in the fire. I wrote a book and I got bored. So
So you got bored, so sign up to do weird things in the desert with strangers.
I don't keep them behind me, but there you go.
There you go. See, there's the good plug. We'll put that in there. Is it
Yeah.
already out?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So
We'll link to it.
yeah. So somebody asked me, they go, so what do you know about emergency management? I said, I wrote the literal book.
I wrote the literal book about it, he says. Wow.
And actually this came out. I've been writing it for a while. So it just was an outlet, and decided to publish it. And I have a second one that's already ready to go. So
Okay.
just something to do. And yeah,
That's awesome.
I always said I wanted to do something. So that's what I did.
Okay. Yeah. That's fantastic, man. All right. Well, let's see here. What the other question I had for you before we get into it then is we're going to dive a little deeper into your build then. What are you driving? You with 08 Jeep, you've got it built to be an overlander to essentially. What, like, tires, lifts, what do you do? What did you do anything special to it?
So I bought it bone stock.
Okay.
And actually I was on the website for the dealership that I knew, and they had a new 2-door soft top, and I'm like, I just want to, and a stick shift, no bells, no frills, nothing. I'm like, that was originally what I was going to buy. So
Okay.
I went, that was on a Friday night. I went Saturday morning, talked to a friend of mine that was the salesman at the dealer, and he's like, oh, I just sold it. And I'm like, come on, they always say that. They just sold it. You know how it is. So, and
Yeah.
he literally did just sell it, and they were putting plates on it, and it was leaving that morning. So, but he told me, he goes, well, we got this other one, and it's a 4-door, loaded, everything but leather. So I looked at it and I wheeled and dealed, and then 45 minutes later I drove it home.
Nice.
That was the start of the stock Jeep. And then suddenly I was on Amazon and every website possible, because I had never owned a Jeep before. So it was kind of like, where do I start?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought bumpers, winch, side steps. So just started doing that. There's actually a company in Illinois, Steinjager, that makes lift kits.
Hmm.
And my grandmother, they're down in Bushnell, down by Peoria.
Okay.
So I called down there, and it was a small company. And what I didn't know at the time, I was talking to the owner of the company. And
Oh.
so my grandmother had relatives in Bushnell. So I thought, this is kind of cool, an Illinois lift kit. I'm going to go down there. So I bought the lift and did it in my garage. Just started building. So I have a 2.5-inch Steinjager lift. Somehow I picked red because it went good with the black. I don't, so that's just the accent color. And did the Fox shocks and did Death Wobble for a little while and had tests and didn't understand how tight track bar bolts really need to be. Did all that work mechanically. I did it all myself in the garage at home and just kept building it. And then it stayed like that for a while. It had seats and doors and everything. It wasn't built out for overlanding until this trip for O Space came up. And I thought, okay, now I need a roof rack because I'm going to get a rooftop tent. And I had all these things that I worked on before I left. I literally installed the rooftop tent in Sedona, Arizona, and slept in it that night at a trail.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
literally. A friend of mine
You
had
really
it.
wanted to try it out.
We did it and we set it on there. We bolted it on temporarily. We realized the bolts were too short and we got it. I slept in it. And then that started a 30-day adventure with a rooftop tent. So
Okay.
I learned a lot along the way. I had the fridge taken care of before the trip. I had a bathroom, a flush toilet, things like that. I wanted to make sure power, had the battery packs, refrigerator, the bare minimum, really.
Okay.
And then when I made the move out west, then it was like, okay, what are we going to build now? And then the seats got ripped out of it. The platform got built. My friend built me a custom Baltic birch tall maker storage system. And, taking it out all the time, you learn what works and
Right.
you just keep building. And that's why I said Jeeps are Legos for adults, because things worked for me at first. And then when the mission changed, I had to change what I was doing.
Yeah.
So you kind of change things. Okay, do I need back seats? No, I don't. I don't ever. My fridge is sitting on a back seat that I don't need, but I can build a platform. And then my friend built me some storage, and then you just keep building. And I need more solar. Then I need an auxiliary battery and a DC to DC charger, and you just keep building it. But every trip you come back and go, huh, that worked well, or that didn't work well, and you just modify it. Like my roof rack, I think I might be overloaded on my roof rack because it tends to go like this when I'm on the trail with the 300-pound tent. So I think either I ordered rubber bushings to replace. Actually, it's literally sitting here. The rubber bushing, one of them was missing that goes to the body. So I ordered bigger ones and I'm going to try that. But the worst case, I may need to find a tube steel fabricator and do an Exco roll cage and replace it with heavier from the Chinese steel to the American made quarter wall DOM tubing. So that might be the next thing, that it's a bigger, heavier roof rack to hold the heavier stuff. And I have the Starlink and the Milwaukee pack out with recovery gear.
Okay.
So it's kind of just been a therapy, really. You go out there and play around with it and just keep building it and try it. And if something works, great. If it doesn't, you figure it out. So
Yeah. And that's the nice part about the sport, and is you can build it to do what you want to do with it. If you want to be a rock crawler, you be a rock crawler. If you want to build an overlander, you build an overlander. But each one of those individual choices that you can make are yours to make. So if you don't want to go bigger than 37-inch tires, or if you don't want to,
right.
if you don't want to have a 4-door, or if you want to have a 4-door, all those choices become yours because of what you want to do. So, and that's something we preach about on the show, is build to what you want to do, don't build to what you think you want to do.
Right.
So,
well, and that's what I tell everybody. It's a constant state of flux. After a trip, things worked well, things didn't work, and we talk about it. And that's part of the tinkering. They're neat to tinker. I remember early on in the Illinois winters, my Jeep was garaged. I had a county Tahoe, so I didn't drive the Jeep except for fun. Or there was a blizzard and the Tahoe is not as good as the Jeep, and I would take it. but my electronic sway bar disconnect quit working, and it just decided to disconnect on its own and stay disconnected. So I went to a junkyard and I literally found another Jeep and put a manual, the manual sway bar, took all the electronics off and just put a sway bar.
Nice.
So I don't disconnect it. I'm good. But you know, I put the Mickey Thompson Baja Bosses, so I run an MT tire. Most people are like, why do you want MTs? I don't know. I just like the look of them. And they're a great tire, except when I get two flats. I fucking roached the back of the rim. I can see it.
Did you?
Yeah.
So the tire's good, the rim's bad?
No, I think the tire's fucked too.
Yeah, the tire's fucked right here.
Hey, Keenan, you know what this means?
What?
Neither of us have a spare.
Fuck.
We can fix your...
Yeah, I heard it and I just said, fuck it, I'm going to keep driving. Not stopping in the middle of that shit. If it falls off the rim, it falls off the rim.
Right.
That's probably the top.
Hey, it's about making memories.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Let's replace that thumbs up with
No, I won't do that. Thanks for stopping. I just know you guys want to get out of the seat anyway. Okay, I have this. I've left it in there. Where did chunk it? Oh, right there. That might not have went all the way through. You know what the problem is? Is that.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah. That's a slight problem. Hey, we can beat that in. We can make it hold air if we need to fix that tonight.
Yeah, we might.
Put some heat to it.
But other than that, and I run in 33s, so I don't need 35s, 37s, 40s, 42s like some people.
Yeah.
I like the lower center of gravity. I like the fire roads, and the 33s. I've literally never had anybody have to pull me out ever. So, you know, that's the other side of this is you don't need the massive buggy. You don't need 40s. You don't need 42s. Do what works for what you want to explore. And then when you get stuck and your buddies make fun of you, you either take it or you go to 35s. But I've ran 33s the entire time I've owned the Jeep, and I'm super happy. Yeah, I scrape once in a while and I bump and whatever things, you know, I don't have a ton of ground clearance with the 33s, but again, a 35 is not much bigger. So
It really isn't.
when people look at it, and you know, I like the lower center of gravity, and I have an awful lot of weight on the roof. So that's it scares me when I see people with rooftop tents that I actually saw one that had paracord holding the front of the rooftop tent, and it had beaners. So, I mean, they did it right, but it had beaners and paracord. It was bolted to a roof rack, but it had beaners on the front to hold the tent from tipping up. And it was on a Gladiator, which was strange because the rooftop tent was on top of the cab, but it was massive. So
Seems unnecessary.
I'd like to educate people on safe use of rooftop tents and safe car, you know, the difference between static and dynamic load. So I really look at overlanding with intention to just become an educational piece. I'm not an expert in everything, but I would like to do guests and have people that can teach us things.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, there's a lot of science to off-roading.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's between geometry, whether you know it or not, when you're off-roading, you're participating in geometry just because you're looking for lines. Well, if you're actually trying to wheel and you're not just trying to power over stuff with a bigger tire, you're looking for lines and you're looking for the best way up and over and without doing damage to your vehicle. And that requires some math.
Well, and that's what I said. Overlanding is an exercise in mental acuity because you're making thousands of decisions every second. Is that rock good? Is that line good? What do I have for hazards? You're doing this threat analysis every 50 feet as you drive.
Right. Is
my rig capable? Am I going to get hung up? Am I stuck? And so, you know, it's an interesting experiment in mental acuity because people, you know, the guys at Full Send, the King of the Hammers, they're making those decisions too, but they have a lot more forgiving suspension and tire setups, and those vehicles are built to go.
Right.
Mine is built to go slow. and
Yep.
climb over the rocks. And it literally, I've never been stuck. I'm knocking on my wood desk. I've never been stuck. And I've went everywhere I want to go. Are there some places that I wish I wouldn't have went? 100%, but it's done it. And you know, it is a lot of weight. So I take those into considerations when I'm never going to rock crawl and go up crazy obstacles like some folks do, just because I have so much top heavy weight, and it's a lot of gear and it's expensive.
Yeah.
So the other thing with this is these rigs are, you know, you buy a brand new Jeep, you're 50, 60,000 for a simple one without any of the toys on it. You know, so
Right.
we're easily hundreds of thousands of dollars into these Jeeps with the gear. And I really don't want that stuff all flying at me. So
There is that too.
yeah,
100%.
so I would take the fire roads and the small rock crawling and, you know, climbing up the ledges and just going to, I just, again, it's what's intentional for you and where you want to go. I've seen the people in the Subarus that take them on the fire roads, and I feel bad for them, but, or the vans, you know, people don't realize on the van lifers, those things are pretty top heavy and they have a pretty narrow track.
Yeah.
It scares me because you see some of these folks and they throw everything they can on the roof of the van. And I look at this thing and I'm looking up at it like, oh God, this is a nightmare. It's gonna be on its side pretty quick.
Yeah. I'm surprised I don't see more of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully we can kind of educate those folks in builds, and I like doing the builds. Honestly, it's therapeutic to go out there and tinker and work on things. And not that I want to break anything, but I do like to tinker and just play around with what we can do with our vehicles.
Fun to see what it's fun to see what it can do and figure out. It's the Lego, you're back to Legos, right? It's fun to clamp new things on and see what you can do with it.
And even though you and I both have Jeeps and we both built our Jeeps, there's not a single one like ours in the world.
It's a true story.
You know, you think about that. For millions of Jeep owners, there's not a single one. I've never found one exactly like mine.
Yeah.
Ever. And you've never found one because it's yellow. So, I mean, that's a smaller minority anyway.
I'm already part of a subclass of unicorn Jeeps. Yeah.
Are you did they put you with the Gecko Jeeps and the pink ones? Is that like yellow, green, and pink? Is that where do you guys have meetups for bright colored Jeeps?
We should.
Okay,
we should.
okay.
But yeah, no, I like to think of mine as a sportier yellow than like the bright yellows. So, but maybe that might just be me justifying it. But I like it.
I think you are, but
stands out.
It does stand out.
So,
yeah,
it looks great on drone video. I'll tell you that.
I saw you like 60 miles away. So on the trail.
And that can be a good or bad thing, right? Like if you don't want to be seen, it's really hard to blend in with.
I'll stick with the black one. It blends in a little better, but I'm not judging you for yellow.
Okay, I appreciate you. That's all right. It saved a lot of money getting that. All right. Anyway, so how did you end up taking all of that and only a few years essentially of kind of getting into wheeling, and then decide you wanted to do a 500-mile trek through the desert with a bunch of strangers?
Well, I've never been up. I'm always up for a challenge. And I've guided Trail Hero. We have a great group of people that we'll do tail gun, mid gun, and we learn the history of Southern Utah. And our friend Wendy, she can take you on a trail ride and teach you about petroglyphs. She actually took a class to be able to teach petroglyphs and dinosaur tracks. So every trail I went on, I learned something. And we all want to explore, but it opened my eyes up to how much in that Arizona Strip, Southern Utah, Nevada, how much history is there. And so we've been part of Trail Hero. I've liked that event, and I saw the expedition come up, and I thought this is something interesting. And I was interested, and I knew my rig was capable. I know I'm capable. Well, I would hope I am. And
well, you finished it, so I think that qualifies.
That qualifies, and it's a personal challenge just to go out in the desert and drive around for 5 days. It's one thing to go out and camp for a weekend. There's no skill involved in that. Oh, you can start a fire. You got a fire pit. You can cook food. So I when I first saw the promotional video of it and being part of Trail Hero and guiding for them and doing that and seeing the the event, I thought, okay, this is interesting. I'm interested. And I didn't know what I was getting into, but I thought, you know what, I'll apply. So the other side of it is I thought of it as from a marketing perspective, because if you're
Yeah.
if you're on the first season, if it's good, they can never recreate the first season.
Yep.
We all remember the first guy on Survivor, and I'm not a reality TV guy. I hate to say it, I don't watch reality TV, so to be part of a reality TV show was like, okay, this'll be interesting. So
I don't know if we should bleep that out for you or not. Like, maybe we'll.
nah, it doesn't matter. Here's the thing. I am who I am, and I had some ideas of how it would go, and I just rolled with it. I can tell you there were times of utter frustration and in my head, and I really didn't want to do it anymore. And that was day one. So, but luckily I have lots of friends, advisors, and people that I can talk to that can talk me off the cliff, literally and figuratively, and just push through. And it's with any TV production. There's things that'll go well, and there's things that are going to go off the rails completely, and you have no control over it. I just wanted to get out in the Jeep and drive. I had to stop and buy aloe vera because the back of my neck was so burnt from standing out waiting for camera crews.
Yeah.
So, there's that kind of stuff that I didn't expect it to take as long as it did to be ready for cameras and to be, getting at camp late and being physically exhausted. You're driving 100 and some miles each day. I didn't think I was going to be as tired as I was, but it was literally set camp up, climb upstairs, no shower, no nothing, and just pass out.
Yeah.
And then do it all over tomorrow. So,
well, I think that goes back to what you're saying about how the mental acuity thing, right? It takes so much energy just to go X number of miles off road, and if you multiply that into a hundreds of mile situation, then you're now talking a whole different ballgame. And then I think the part that folks may or may not really see when the show airs is all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and you're going to see a lot of it on this show as we go through interviews with folks. But there are multiple times where it was just like it's taking a long time to just get stuff set up, just to take a few minutes of video. And I can only imagine how frustrating that is for you guys who are just standing there waiting for those of us who are trying to put that stuff together.
Well, and yes, it's frustrating to a certain point, but I expected it, being in video production and understanding that things don't always go the way you want them to.
Right.
And it's nothing fatal. Like we said in our business, it's not fatal, but it definitely made the days longer because I would rather wake up, eat breakfast, pack up camp, do our thing, and get on the road, not at noon or 11:30. So that's the thing that I hope the viewers understand, the absolute pain points we all went through just to produce a show, and then still have to drive and figure out all the logistics of our own lives and dinner and food. And I was salami sandwiches and hot dog in it because I actually came into and I like to cook. I'll cook.
Yeah.
I cook at home.
I had lofty goals too, sir. Yes.
But I didn't. My goals were not lofty on purpose, because I figured that everything was going to take exponentially longer when you have a film crew or multiple film crews. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do the chips, salami sandwich, snacks, had my snackle box that my friend made for me. So when we went on trail rides the first time with our friends Wendy and Steph, they made us snackle boxes. So I refilled my snackle box and had that, and literally did hot dogs and salami sandwiches because I knew it was quick and easy and I could get a quick bite and hit the sack. And I'm glad I did it that way, because I did at one point think I was going to buy hamburgers and steaks and just really cook it up and make all kinds of delicious food. And I'm so very fortunate that I didn't plan it that way, because I would have been upset, first off, that I didn't have the time to, try to cook a steak or hamburgers or even any of that stuff. And I think it would have made the experience worse, because I would be now tired and up against, go to bed to get up at 7 a.m. to be ready to roll, pack camp up. And that was the big thing. When I camp, it's usually Friday through Monday. So you set camp, you get to relax for 2-3 days. This was a make and break camp every single day.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself is difficult. And I'm super fortunate that my friends at OVS, at Overland Vehicle Systems, when I told them what this experience was going to be, they said, well, what kind of tent do you want? And I went from a zipper bag tent to an aluminum hardshell, which
Nice.
is 4 latches, pull it down, because I knew I was going to be making and breaking camp every single day.
Yeah.
So again, being intentional, I met with the vendor and the sponsor and said, here's the things I need. I knew I needed some type of a structure for my toilet and shower. So they provided that. And then it just so happened the first day my winch died. So one email, they sent a winch out. So total great partner, but you don't think of those things. Well, I guess I should rephrase that. A lot of people don't think of what do they need before they get on the adventure until they get on the adventure and realize what they forgot.
Yeah.
And we've all done it. Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot to pack this or I forgot to pack that. So I'm just super happy I went lean on the food side. I'm also really happy that some of our other participants basically said, hey, at the Grand Canyon, we're making chicken stir fry, and Steve and his wife had it, and hey, I'm game for that. So
yeah, I'll take free food.
It was a lot of fun. So yeah, I hope season 2 does like a nightly dinner so the contestants don't have to, or the cast members don't have to worry about food at night at least, because that was kind of a pain point. So I think it could be worked out that season 2 includes a steak fry every night or something.
That'd be awesome.
Or
Yeah. So
something.
Well, and so part of that for you too is you are one of only 2 teams that was a solo team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there a reason you just didn't have anybody you wanted to bring with you, or are you back to just I'd like to be alone in the desert?
I'll answer that this way. In all the years of owning my Jeep, I've never turned the radio on.
Oh,
I love silence. I was teaching counter drone at New Mexico Tech for FEMA, and I could drive 8 hours and never have my radio on, ever. Drive cross country, no radio. I like my thoughts, and I like that you think it's a weird psychotic thing, I'm sure. Because most people,
I don't think we should do any armchair psychiatry here.
I like silence. Honestly, I talk to myself. I answer myself. I talk through obstacles, and I have this weird quirky personality that I like to just be in my car in silence and just cruise, whether it's going to the grocery store or the Home Depot or 30-day travel. It's just something. I mean, it's just weird. I know it's weird, and I'll admit that I'm strange. But and it's part of the challenge. You have to do everything.
It's not that weird, and I say that now. 20-year-old me would have said that's totally psychotic, and I would have been like, yeah, I am completely judging you and saying that that's weird. As I've gotten older, though, there are multiple times where I find myself I just don't turn the radio on. Or if I do turn it on, I turn it on so low that I don't know why it's on, because I'm not listening to it at that point. I can't hear it. Yeah. I'm completely in my head. That's usually what happens when I'm out solo too.
Well, and that's where I've been. I travel and I drive, and when you're in a high stress job and you got radios and you're always talking and
yeah.
So the peace and quiet means more to me than anything, and just to be able to get out and drive, and I talk to myself. I know I do, and I tell myself what obstacles I'm coming up to, and okay, where do I go? I talk it out. I answer myself, which some people also say is a little strange, but so this adventure was an experiment. I'm going to say for all of us, including the producers, and it's never been done before. So it was just an interesting experiment to see how things would go.
Okay.
And you know what? Hey, I drove 601.4 miles with my missed turn. So
we got 30 more miles than everybody else.
Yeah, I really was I missed one turn and it sent me way off route. So
the same thing happened on my way to Whitmore Canyon, and I ended up doing a trail that was parallel to, but not the trail I was supposed to take. So it took us a lot longer.
Yeah.
And
well, I was lucky it was highway, and I thought, man, this is an awful long time to be on the highway. And then I looked down and I'm like, Well, there's another main highway. So I'm just going to turn and go towards Cedar City because I know I have to
Yeah.
go that way. So I'm going to
Yep.
go that way.
There
And
you go.
I ended up getting to the Maverick and did my checkpoint and got gas. And I saw other people. And I'm like, okay, well, I just kind of went the pavement route instead of the dirt route. So,
There
but
you
when
go.
I only had a paper with points of interest, so I didn't have a route map that you could read.
Mhm.
And so I got lost. And fun fact, my father designed scales, and I found one of his scales along the route and parked my Jeep
Really?
on it. Yep. Yep. He was a scale guy. He invented packaging machines, and he was actually in the 70s the guy that invented the bulk nail to retail processing system.
That's awesome.
So,
Okay.
so he was a scale guy. He loved scales and farm
Yeah.
scales, and he had a distinctive color blue. So anywhere I see that blue, I know it's his product. And he passed away when I was 10. So it's kind of a nostalgic, like I got lost and then I kind of remembered where I was and I went, I think his scale is down this road. So I went a little farther lost. And sure enough, there was one of his scales. So I pulled on it, took a picture and did all that. And so it kind of made, but again, it's part of the destination. I got lost. I wasn't lost.
I've been writing for Trails Off Road for nearly 10 years now, and what drew me in wasn't just the chance to map trails, it was their absolute commitment to building detailed, consistent, and responsible guides that truly help people explore with confidence. That mission still matters, and that's why I believe in Trails Off Road, not just because I'm a writer and they're a sponsor, but because I've seen firsthand how useful this tool can be when you're deep in the backcountry and plans are changing by the hour. Planning a full week of the trailhead following along with the Trail Hero Expeditions meant juggling long days, minimal cell phone service, and evolving plans. Trails Off Road kept the plan simple for me, though. Clear difficulty ratings and waypoints for obstacles and even some camping information made the journey that much easier. Public land overlays made it easy to stay legal and tread lightly when roving camp to camp, and it all worked offline, so the guide and the map kept working even when the cell bars faded. New features even allow you to record your tracks, add your own waypoints, and put the guide on a compatible Android Auto Dash. If you want one tool to plan your adventure smarter, this is it. So for the best damn trail guides, get your free trial of Trails Off Road All Access in the app or at trailsoffroad.com.
All that. And so it kind of made, but again, it's part of the destination. I got lost. I wasn't lost. I was just, something told me to go that way. And I missed a turn on that road and knew where I was and just got back on route. And so, you look at this kind of stuff and that was part of this adventure. As a planner and an emergency manager, it makes me really nervous when I don't have a primary, secondary, and tertiary plan. And this adventure being, not knowing what we don't know, it was interesting. And
there's a lot of us in the middle of it that didn't know what we didn't know.
Well, and that the only thing that I didn't care for were the challenges, because a lot of them weren't designed for me because I'm by myself.
Yeah.
And I thought that was something that could have been done a little differently. Plus, we're tired. We've been there. We've been driving all day, and now you throw this stuff at us, and it was just it was okay. I'm not a puzzle guy. I can count. I certain things just.
I'm really interested. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that.
Yeah.
How this plays out when I talk to everybody about it the
Yeah.
most. And we'll talk about that more in just a second. But one more question for you on the overlanding piece of things. So, what was you did? So you did the intermediate level then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you just kind of had, and I'm sure that those of you listening know that if you do the intermediate level, you kind of get waypoints in between in terms of points of interest and kind of places that you should end up throughout the day. And then it's up to you which ones you want to put into your GPS or not, and how you want to get from from point A to point B. It's a step above expert or below expert level, but
right,
you can end up in the same situation where you end up taking a wrong turn because you put something in weird.
And fun fact, I was expert level.
Oh, started there.
So
okay.
It just so happens
Just
that they handed me I started as an expert, and then for whatever reason, their paperwork got shuffled around, and I was then suddenly an intermediate, not a, and I said, you know what, that's fine. I never put them in my GPS. I literally drove and navigated by POI only.
Okay. Nice.
So a wrong turn here, a missed turn there, maybe. I don't actually, I think there was only one. I think I literally only missed one turn to where I was so far off route that I couldn't get back to it because there was a mountain in my way. And I didn't think it was probably a good idea to go up and over. I'm not going to break trails. So that was, but again, the levels aren't as important as what, the adventure.
And getting from point A to point B.
Point A to point B, seeing the stuff along the way, and that was what it was worth. For sure.
What was did you catch anything, or is there anything that you didn't catch on camera that you wish you had?
Probably when I was climbing up the rock ledge and I heard the hiss of my tire blowing. That would have been fun.
Just the moment when you first you
heard that. Uh-oh. And I'm 400 feet into this switchback rock ledge, and I'm like, well, I can't stop here. So I drove, and then now, of course, the rim is damaged because it tacoed the rim, and I'm worried now that I'm going to cause more damage because there's no air between the rock and the rim. So I made it to the top, and inconsequentially, 3 other rigs were there with their cameras to get out and just videotape my shame. So, which is fine. Good for the show. So everybody helped, and it was a lot of fun. And I wish I would have recorded when my second tire blew, but I didn't need to because we had a production crew there, so he took care of that for us. So,
I hate to say you're not making a case for these tires right now. What punctured them?
So the first one was a hard ride. It didn't actually puncture the tire. We thought it did, but it actually just bent the rim because I have steel rims. The idea being that you can repair those if you need to, rather than aluminum, they're done. So I took it off, put the spare on, and the rim was actually bent from the rock hitting it. It bent the bead inwards. Okay. So again, we weren't worried about field repairing it because I had a spare. So I threw the spare on, and then the next day I was 3.1 miles from the end, and they believe I hit a piece of debris from a side-by-side on a gravel road. And that sliced the inner sidewall of the spare. So then we had to take the spare that now has a tacoed rim and Michael went all Hulk on it and hit it with a sledgehammer / axe handle.
Good Lord.
We bent the rim back, hooked it to my compressor, aired it up, it held air, and I finished and drove the 3 miles in. But what I literally was on was a gravel road. That last 10-mile gravel road.
Yep.
That's what I was on when I had my second flat.
Good Lord.
So they think that there was debris from a vehicle or a side-by-side in the gravel, and it just caught and just punctured it. Because I run Mickey Thompson Baja Bosses, so they're not a cheap tire. They're not, they're less than a year old. It was just a freak thing. The first one was just the rim getting bent, because that one's still actually holding air right now with the rim being pounded out. And then the second one, it got under one of the lugs on the sidewall, and it just pierced it. We probably could have plugged it, but I don't know if we would trust it being right at the edge of the sidewall and the tread. It would have been unsafe. And they're both getting replaced under warranty right now anyway. So
get the discount tire warranty?
4-wheel parts.
There you go.
The Extreme Tire Warranty. I called them up, and they ordered 2 new tires, and it'll be good to go. So that's stuff that we expect, not to blow 2 tires, but again, we cover 600 miles. So two blowouts is probably not unheard of for that many miles. And the other side of it is you're putting a lot of weight on the back end of the Jeep with all the stuff we're carrying and the tent and things like that. So that could have compromised just that weight coming down. Fun fact, my Jeep weighs 6,940 pounds loaded without me in it.
Because you know that.
Thanks
to the scale you stopped at.
Thanks to my dad's scale, I actually got to weigh it. So that's a lot of weight. So that could have, and we're aired down. That just could have been a freak thing. It's the first time I've ever had a flat on the Jeep or 2. I'm knocking on wood again because I don't want that to happen. But yeah, it was an adventure.
I can't believe this little impact's got the nuts it does.
Yeah, I've got this small Milwaukee that I use. It works pretty good. It's about 110 pounds. It's an empty mill.
That will pull 130.
Yeah.
That one. Nice. Did anything other than the tire situations surprise you or surprise yourself while you were out there?
I was really surprised on how much my rack rocked back and forth. My roof rack. It had never really done that before. I did, of course. OVS gave me the new tent, and it's 300 pounds compared to 200. So there's an extra 100 pounds, and it's aluminum. It moved 4 inches on the bracket because
Good Lord.
I have the 2-inch tube roof rack all the way around.
Yeah.
And the brackets that come with OVS are flat metal with the 2 bolts that go into the slide track like every other rooftop tent. They're solid. The problem is the roof rack is round and the steel plate is flat. So there was a little bit of give, and I think when we were rocking back and forth, it just started working over a little bit. So I upgraded to actually round clamps that I ordered from a big industrial supply house. So that got done. My Rotopax broke off. So the actual Rotopax mount, I didn't realize was stamped steel, and it caught a rock and it just flung the tank. And normally I keep the tank locked. So I would have known that I dropped the Rotopax, but I didn't realize I dropped the Rotopax until I stopped to change my spare and got my tool out to take my Rotopax off and went, well, I don't need that, I guess. Well, shoot. So luckily another cast member found my Rotopax in the mount, threw it in their Gladiator and brought it to me. So that wasn't a total loss. And I actually ordered a billet aluminum Rotopax knockoff mount that's actually looks to be better than the Rotopax. So that's all put back on. And then there's the winch.
Yeah, let's talk about the winch, man.
So Saturday, so I get to Casablanca on Saturday morning. Well, I have a new sponsor, great company, great guy. I'd been talking to him for a few weeks, and he goes, "Hey, I'm going to be there at the vendor show. I'll bring all your stuff. No problem. I'm excited. Let's do this." So I had a worn winch, and I had never changed my synthetic rope. And I thought, okay, if anything's going to fail, the winch rope being in the desert now, and it's, 7, 8 years old, this could be a problem. So JM Rigging, you met Jim, great guy.
Yep.
I talked to Jim and said, here's what we're doing. Do you want to be part of this? And he had soft shackles and t-shirts and D-rings and brand new winch rope. So in the parking lot before we did tech, I free spool, and I start pulling the 80 feet of winch rope off, right? And then I get down to the bottom and the bolt is rusted. So I mess with it and I'm like, you know what? I'm running out of time. I'm hot. I'm in the sun. I'm sick of this. I'll just bring this to winch. If it breaks, we'll figure it out. Because I don't have a drill. I'm not drilling and tapping in the middle of a parking lot.
Right. Especially before tech.
Yeah. So it's before tech. So I have 80 feet of, synthetic rope laying on the ground. So I get up and get my remote and I switch it to spool and I go click, 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 click. And all it does is click. So now everybody's like, oh boy, this is not good. Now the winch line is all the way out of the vehicle. So, couldn't go in, couldn't go out. Checked the contactor, checked everything we could check. The electrical connections are good. And this is a pretty decent winch. It's a Warren. They're known to be good. So then Keenan does the roll of shame and free spools it and starts winding it by hand.
Oh,
I got about 60 feet on there before it wasn't tight enough, and now it's binding on the drum because you're not putting enough tension. So then the rest got zip tied on the front bumper. So sent an email to OVS and said, hey, we lost a winch on this adventure, and they sent a winch and
fantastic.
Got it. I even spray painted underneath it, and winches are easy, 4 bolts, 2 electrical connections, throw it off and throw the new one on. So now it went from an 8,000 pound winch to a 12,000, and it's new.
Nice.
So,
but you ran the whole thing without a winch.
I ran the whole thing. Didn't need a winch. Thank goodness. Drove it with 3 tires up a hill, and it's fine. And, it was as crazy as I thought it could have been. knowing the people that build these trails and seeing them on Trail Hero, I actually thought that the rating system, whatever they said it was, you need to add 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, at certain points, I went on trails that I wasn't comfortable with. The rig's not built for rock crawling and, super off camber, because it is so heavy. It's not that it can't do it, because it did it. I'm glad the video doesn't have audio, because you'd probably hear me talking about it. And there are some expletives that this is not a 4 or a 5. Because I was climbing up some stuff, and I think you got to go up some of them at the very last day. There was that section for about 4 miles where it said "enjoy the rock crawling" with a smiley face. I'm going to tell you right now, I was not smiling.
You were not indeed enjoying the rock crawling.
And I do enjoy it too. The super technical climbing over ledges and stuff like that in a buggy, that's cool. Do it in a buggy. But our Jeeps are not designed, even though they possibly could do it. I have too much money and time into it to roll it over. I don't have anything to prove to anybody except myself. And
is it your daily driver too?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There it is. Yep.
Totally. Yeah. It always has been. Well, now I take that back. The county, I had a Tahoe that went really fast in a straight line. It wouldn't go off road very well, but it did go down the median of Interstate 80 a few times when the traffic was backed up for 12 miles.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, the Jeeps you build them for the purpose you want. And that was something that we tried to talk about. And I thought, well, if a guy in a 90s Suburban can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Or a guy in a stock 4Runner can do it. So it was neat to see the diversity of the rigs, not knowing the skill level of the drivers, because I didn't know any of these people. They didn't know me and I didn't know them. I'm just basing my opinion was based on their rig.
Yeah.
And I looked at a stock 4Runner and I go, he's got to be a pretty good driver if he's going to make it through this. Cause this thing has no lift, no tires, nothing but a stock 4Runner that he has some supplies from Walmart.
On the other hand, you've got the guys with the giant tires that are built for mudding, and they end up having different kinds of problems.
Yeah.
So for as frustrating as it was, you made it all the way through there with 33s.
Oh yeah. And I'm glad it wasn't timed, but every day I was top 4, top 5 of people coming into camp. So I'm proud of myself that it was a challenge. We didn't know what we were getting into. I literally couldn't research the trails because we didn't know anything about them.
Yeah.
So,
and for those of you listening, one of the trails you guys did towards the end there was Limekiln Canyon, and trails off road on a scale of 5 or a scale of 10, they rate that a 5. And that's if I was advising you as a person who was going out, I'd be like, man, 33s and a rooftop, I'm not sure I'd put you on Limekiln.
No,
because I'm not sure I'd put myself on it.
Did you take it? Did you take your vehicle on that?
No, I had other concerns that day.
Okay.
I was having an overheating issue with the trailer, but I know that trail and I know where you guys were at. So
and I had never been on that trail. I'd been on parts of all of the trails at some point, and they were kind of pieced together from certain ones. That one I was fine with until I got to that 6 miles of rock crawling. Yeah. And I literally pulled over and made myself a sandwich and sat there and went, okay, this is not what you're comfortable with. It's
mentally prepare myself.
I honestly did, because where else am I going to go? I have to do this. And that was part of the draw is there's no not finishing. You have to finish what you started in life across the board. Yeah. Was I 100% comfortable? Never, ever. And a rooftop tent and a pack out on the roof and a Starlink and all that weight above center. I'm going to tell you, that would be one that I would not do again. Now, in a built JL with 35s with nothing on the roof, oh heck yeah, let's do that. But
were you really? I mean, other than just did you feel it moving when you were?
Oh, I could see it moving. Up that? I could see the roof rack flopping back and forth, and then you would feel it because the vehicle would oscillate, and then the roof rack would come with 300 pounds. Yeah. So that's why the rubber isolators are going to help. But I may have to just build a bigger roof rack just to make it more stable for that stuff. So
does it make you want to get disconnects?
No. No.
Okay.
Because I have the Super Springs International coil sumos, which I would recommend that all your viewers look at, and their bump
Okay.
stops. They're not
Okay.
rubber. They're like a closed cell foam.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, my experience was night and day. I mean, granted, you're slinging 300 to 500 pounds on your roof and in your back. Nothing's going to help you. You can have the best suspension in the world, and you're still going to have side to side movement and oscillation. The
Right.
Super Springs help. My bump stops were shot. I pulled them out and they were crumbling in my hands. So Super Springs hooked us up with new bump stops, and then they make this coil sumo, which looks like an I-beam that goes in your rear coil springs and it wraps around just one wrap.
Okay.
And it really takes the preload bounce out and all that extra weight we carry. Cause the
Yeah.
vehicle manufacturers are designing it for weight plus people plus cargo. And we're going way past what, to the point where I actually had to call the spring manufacturer, and I went from a 2.5 inch in the rear to a 4 to try to combat the sag. So I have
Okay.
4s in the back and 2.5 in the front, plus the coil sumos, and it's still a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And then I added a new roof up tent, which added another 100 pounds on top. So,
and you didn't quite rebalance that, did you?
there's no way to. I'd have to go to a 6-inch spring. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So it rides level. I mean, it rode level, but you lose a bit of the vehicle dynamics of the suspension when you're preloading everything by hundreds of pounds.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, so do you think that this is going to be a grade A segue? You ready for this?
Mhm.
So do you think that having the 33s and the build that you had made it easier or not easier for some of the challenges and the competition piece?
Are you talking about the camp challenges or like the challenges as we went across the desert?
Well, you guys really didn't have any challenges as you went across the desert, right? Like most of those were just kind of get from point A to point B and the stuff that you run into, obviously, those types of challenges.
Mhm.
But no, I'm talking specifically about the competition piece of things.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't, nothing really comes to mind. I think there was such a varying skill level of different things. The vehicle was so far out of the competition that it didn't.
What is it just because you were because you were solo and it was kind of hard to get like it's a lot easier to say change a tire with two people doing, splitting that work than it is for an individual.
So being a solo driver weighed in on the competition side of it because normally you have two people.
Right.
I'm not letting anybody drive my rig, so that throws me out of that one. Changing the tire, literally haven't ever changed the tire since I rotated them. And my OEM jack has never been out of the box, and I couldn't even get it out because I have so much stuff on top of it. So I do have a jack to meet the requirements of the trip. I had a jack, but I knew that we had all these other people with jacks that were more readily accessible. I did try to put a high lift on the side of mine, and my passenger door was hitting it. And I'm like, I'm not going to damage the door because the mount wouldn't move far enough forward. So I basically said, you know what? It's hot. My neck is burnt. I'm not happy, and I'm not going to change my tire. I'm good. I'm good with that.
That's fair.
So and originally it used to be that the challenges were optional. It didn't come across to me that they were optional, and I felt
Okay.
a little. It would have been nice to know what we were getting ourselves into, but obviously you lose part of the shock and
surprise
awe.
aspect.
Yeah, but I would have loved to do winching without a winch, or a trail repair, or changing, doing something more technical.
Okay.
Setting camp up. Who can make the best dinner? I mean, you could do more. Yeah, I don't know. I've already conveyed a lot of those things. Like, it could be more technical. Like, how do you winch without a winch? Can you winch yourself backwards from a front mounted winch? You can, but how many people know how to do that?
Yeah. And it's not, it's not that hard, folks.
I would have done it where it was just a geometry lesson, and here's winch diagrams, and you have to calculate the mechanical advantage of the winch and how do you change direction and all, stuff more geared toward more technical than less gimmicky, I guess.
Okay. No, that's fair. And I don't think, in this kind of scenario, when you're doing this for the first time, I don't think that any of that criticism is bad or good, or there are multiple times as an outside observer, I'm just like, well, that could be a little bit different,
Yeah.
and I could see how that might not work out for folks. And yeah, I when I knew you and Fran were the two who were solo, and I'm just like, I know some of the stuff that's coming, and I'm like, that's going to be rough. And I know, Rich had said to me early on in this, it would be a lot easier if you have a co-pilot. I think it almost needs to be, if you're going to continue to do that way, you got to make it almost a requirement for people to have that.
Yes and no. I think there's it has some. I saw it with some of the other co-drivers. There was drama between their own teams, and
Yeah.
you lose the peace and relaxation, and I don't know. It could go all both ways. If I did it again, yeah, I would have a co-driver for sure.
Okay.
I think it would be
For this particular event.
Yeah. And honestly, I said to just dump the challenges completely and just make it. But again, we have it's a TV show too, so we have to bring in the problem that you'll find is, and I'm not an overly negative person, but it's kind of like, well, you gave me a disqualification day one because I don't have a second person that you knew I didn't have a second person months ago.
Right.
Or weeks ago or days ago. It doesn't matter. So part of my frustration was you should have been prepared for a contingent. Okay, without that, here's X.
Right.
So
they get a handicap or something.
No, not even, and I did get my DQ removed after I changed 2 flat tires. So I asked the FIA board that to rescind my disqualification for the tire change challenge because I was the only one that changed 2 tires on the trail.
I mean, it at least helped your end all standings, right?
It did not. And honestly, I never went into it for fabulous prizes. That it could care less. It wasn't about that. It was about the adventure. It was about seeing new sights, hearing new history, looking at new places, meeting new people, and just exploring areas that I've never been to. I've never been to the North Rim of the Grand Canyon by a Jeep. I've been to the Grand Canyon, but you're on the walkway with every other tourist from every other country in the world. The North Rim is totally different. So that's one that I'll leave in my arsenal and say, I want to go back there. I want to go camp the Grand Canyon again. And now I know how to get there, or stay at the Barten Ranch or any of those places. So I went into it just like, okay, I don't know how to get from point A to point B. That's the mystery of the whole thing. Yeah, there's going to be a TV crew. There's going to be movie stuff. There's going to be all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it was all about the drive.
Yes.
That's all that mattered. And that I know my rig. I didn't break anything. No physical damage, nothing, no major breakdowns, tires, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah,
that happens.
That's kind of expected. Yeah.
Can you do it? And not normally when we do trail rides, we know the trail, we have maps, we have carto tracks, we have everything in front of us because I'm usually the tail gun and I want to know the route and I want to know, okay, even if we're taking them to Tokerville Falls, which is a 3 to 4 trail, it's not crazy. It's beautiful, but it's not a crazy trail. I still have it up on my iPad with carto tracks to make sure that we're clearing the route and everything's good. Right. So this was different because I didn't know where I was really going. It was uncharted territory. I kind of had a direction, but it's easy to get lost. It's easy to miss a turn. It's easy to go through the wrong gate and get stuck I almost got stuck in the mud. I gave it everything. I didn't, but I threw some mud. The poor camera guy had mud all over him when I came up out of the wash.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, it's on video.
That's fantastic.
So
that probably makes a show.
You pull up to that and you go, oh, that's mud. Well, you and I from Illinois, we know what mud is. And it's kind of like sand. If you don't have wheel speed and just stay into it, you're stuck. And I gave it everything I had and popped up out of there, and it was made for great TV. And that's part of it. We have to you have to juggle being on a TV show and driving your rig and making it about what you want it to be. So I think, I got more definitely out of, going to sleep. That was great. I mean, you're exhausted. People don't understand driving 100 to 140 miles a day off road is mentally and physically exhausting anyway. Then you have to worry about camp and bathroom breaks and taking pictures along the way, shooting video, and then somebody letting all the air out of your tires.
Yeah.
So
there's that.
And hikes. I said it on the show. I don't hike unless there's a bear chasing me. I am not a hiker.
You both had to hike and get the air let out of your tires.
The air let out of my tires bothered me less than the hike to see, because if you've seen one volcanic hole in the ground, you've seen them all. So
did you know something was up?
I knew something was up, because I'm like, this is not. I mean, I thought I was on like a terrible episode of PBS Kids, like, we're going to look at the rocks, guys.
Yeah.
And I understand it was fun, and I'm not a hiker. I had work boots on, not hiking boots. So part of that, I kind of knew they were up to no good, because I know the Trail Hero guys, and they're all jokesters.
The original plan for that was much more devious.
I will let you know that I'm the one that provided the zip ties, a package of 100.
Nice. Yep. It was much more devious.
I'm not the one that installed said zip ties on drive shafts and rims and such, but I did provide them. I'm not gonna name my.
Not gonna rat out the responsible parties.
No, I'll take responsibility for the zip ties, but I'm not.
Okay.
So,
for those of you that don't know, and I don't think any of us got video of it, unfortunately, but Rich leaving camp was very noisy that day.
All of them leaving.
It was good stuff though. It was so funny.
I just wish I would have had some of the HVAC ones, because that would have really worked.
Really scared. You know what? If you'd asked, I would have.
Yeah, but you needed them to hold your trailer together, so I mean, that's okay.
You know what? That little trailer did a lot, man. It did a lot. It probably shouldn't have. And the guy I rented it from really likes the pictures I took at Whitmore Canyon with it. So
nice.
It worked out for everybody. Was there any of the competition that you did like, that you thought was entertaining, or did you kind of just consider it all fluffy?
Yeah, it was okay.
You can say it's fluffy. It's fine.
It was fluffy. Yeah,
it was fluffy.
It was
I know the stuff at Sand Hollow, I feel like, was fluffy, but yeah.
I don't even remember what we did there.
Yeah, those were the game ones.
Oh yeah. And again, I would much rather let me use my brain. I would rather give me something. Yeah.
To be fair, though, to your own admission, you are not the audience for reality TV either.
No, I am not. I am not that guy. I am not the reality TV guy. I don't even watch reality TV. I can't. I actually was sitting here, and somehow Farmer Wants a Wife came on, and then I suddenly got invested in it for like 15 minutes, and I can't do it. I snapped out of it. I'm good.
You got to snap out of it, because if you don't snap out of it, you're in it forever.
No, I can't do it. So
good for you.
I only watch TV that has the word channel at the end of it. Weather Channel, Discovery Channel, History Channel.
Okay. The Learning Channel. Well, TLC doesn't really go by the Learning Channel anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah, and they shouldn't, based on the programming that I've seen on there. All right.
Or Tracker. I'll do Tracker. That one's pretty good. Kind of makes me want to get an Airstream and just drive around looking for people. That's a whole other show. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't sound creepy at all. Yeah. I don't feel like we should get into it.
we probably shouldn't. That you made that sound weird.
I do. Well, I live 20 minutes from Dog the Bounty Hunter, so there is that.
Okay.
We all have weird things. You're good. You're amongst friends. All right. So when you got let's change the subject a little bit. What was the first thing you did once you got back to the hotel? Was it shower or eat something decent?
Shower.
Okay.
2 of them. The first shower was good, and then when I dried off and I saw the orange on my towel, I had to jump back in.
Yeah.
So it was actually 2 showers, and then a nice meal, and not hot dogs and salami.
Nice.
And that was my own choice. That was literally my own choice. So I don't want people to feel sorry for me for hot dogs and salami, because that's what I picked.
No. And you make those choices when you're on the trail. It
was nice to have lots of choices, and I think I put every protein that there was on the buffet line on my plate, and a salad and everything, and just went at it. So
that's what I should have done. I should have gone to the buffet. I just went to the cafe and just chowed down on 2 meals. I was so hungry.
Oh, you guys got back a lot earlier than we did. I'm talking about the dinner, the closing dinner.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't get the chance to really eat much at the dinner. Yeah, I was doing
Yeah.
my own stuff.
I
get it.
I did. That was the first meal of the day.
Oh, was it
and
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Besides
I wasn't
coffee.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
everybody, some of the competitors drove them like trophy trucks. I call them ultra gladiators. I don't know what
Okay. Yeah.
it's kind of amazing. The Mojave Gladiators are with the Fox Reservoir Shocks. They just go, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
follow along, and I feel like I'm going to rattle my roof rack off. And these guys are just flying through, and then you throw a Ranger Raptor in the mix. So it was fun to see the mix of different vehicles, different driver levels, comfort levels. I'd come up to a lot, and I'd be like, okay, hopefully they pull over because I would like to go a little faster than 5. And they did. So it was neat to see how the vehicles stacked in, and it was funny. Every day they were kind of the same order roughly, and so you can kind of see how everybody stacked in. And you're on your own, but you do get caught up with certain groups, and some you never see because they're gone. They're doing 109 miles an hour, and mine
What are you
wouldn't do
talking about?
mine wouldn't do 109 unless it was rolling down the hill.
Look, when we rolled into the camp that first day as production and media, and
And they were there
these
taking
two
a nap.
guys, they're laying under the tree. They're laying under this giant cottonwood tree, just having the best day. And I'm just like, I've been sweating for 3 hours just driving here. How?
And they literally were napping for an hour before
Oh yeah,
you
they've
got
been
there.
there for a minute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and that was stuff that the production had to adjust to, that, okay, this isn't going to take as long for some as others. And then we were
Yeah.
all waiting, like I said, coming in 4 or 5 every day was more than, front half of the pack I was ahead of. So and again, not a race.
Right.
It wasn't that, but it was a personal goal to say, okay, I don't want to be dead last, and I certainly want to finish. So
Right.
I went with that, okay, I'm not going to beat up my machine. I don't have anything to prove to anybody that
Right.
I'm not going to rock crawl and blast this thing and just trash something more than blowing tires and things like that. And so I was very intentional with that I don't want to be last, but I certainly don't need to be first. So
Nice.
running 4 or 5, I was excited to be mid pack and just have a good time and stop when I needed to. And, I got to tour the Grafton Ghost Town. So back to the history of Southern Utah, there's so much stuff that people need to, and I'm glad that the camera crew happened to be with me when I went to Grafton, and I said, well, do you want to go in the buildings? And the cameraman looked at me like, we can? Yeah. And I happen to know a little bit about it. My friend Wendy taught us the history of Grafton. So we got to go through the building and the house and the stable. The church was closed, but so we shot some really great video of the history of that area. So
There you go.
I think that would be a better challenge. That I'm not saying write a research paper, but figure out some way to bring the points of interest in that people actually stop and they look at that and they realize what history is around us. The petroglyphs,
Right.
the dinosaur, we do all
The
these.
schoolhouse on Whitmore.
Oh, yeah.
Why was it there? Why is it
Yeah.
still standing in such good condition?
And they had that rock right in front that I put my left tire on.
There you go.
Perfect.
The poser rock. That's like, it seems like it's built for it.
Yeah, I think somebody put it there on purpose. So I stopped
I
there.
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think somebody definitely put a poser rock there, and I fell for it. But
Hey, that's all right.
stuff like that how it's interesting to see how our ancestors moved across this country. Why did they settle this community or that community? Why did it go away? Why isn't it still there? What, that kind of historical stuff really was interesting to me. So I actually think we need to do our own spin-off show that's like Overland History.
Okay. I could do that.
I think
I'd be
it'd
glad
be-
to help you out with
I think
that.
that'd be something fun that, just to have, our friend has Wandering with Wendy, and Wendy will just take you out on a trail and she'll stop and say, it's not about the start and the end. It's about all the middle. And
Right.
Wendy will get on the radio and she'll go, and the Mormons in 18 whatever did this trail because they had to go here because of this. And she tells you everything about why they have this 2-lane wagon trail.
Yeah.
And what they went to the temple and they went here and then the honeymoon trail. And she'll give you this history. Then she goes back to the Indians and tells you about, a lot of people don't know the top of the gorge has coral reef on it. The gorge you drove through
Okay.
You know, the big windy between St.
Yep.
George and Mesquite.
Yep.
There's a trail that has coral reef on the top. And I would have never known that if I wouldn't have went with Wendy and those crews on those types of trails.
Okay. That's really cool. Yeah. It doesn't surprise me knowing what I know about that area, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's
Literally,
really cool.
I can park and get out and touch coral reef. So that's the stuff that intrigues me.
Yeah.
And just learning about the history of the people that were there before us and why they were there, why they left, and just that neat human capital flow.
Yeah. It's been one of my favorite things about riding for trails off road. Is as much as I love just documenting trails and where they are, the trails with the history are the ones that are fascinating to me. They're the ones that draw me back again and again and again. And yeah, come on out to Colorado. I know a bunch of those out here. There's a ton of really cool history out here. And a lot of it's in the backyard to a lot of people here in the Front Range.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think people be real surprised how close they are to a lot of history. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, well, good deal. All right. Well, what's up next for you, man? Like, what are you doing after, at this point now, as of this airing, Trail Hero X has aired. You've been busy for a couple months. Has the YouTube channel yet launched around this time?
So that's the plan. We're gonna launch the YouTube channel. We have some content ready to go. You know how it is editing.
Oh God,
it never ends. So I'm gonna shoot more content and just keep going with that. And I know we have Trail Hero and the premiere, so I'm sure they're gonna roll out the orange sand carpet, and that'll be perfect. So I'm very hopeful that the show is, some people see value in it, and it wasn't a gimmick, and it was fun for all of us to do it and to be part of season one. It's great experience, and I hope it'll give us, a little bit of little clout. I'd like to be
a little bit of exposure.
And I've already talked to the production team about, hey, can I help you with some things that we saw that didn't go well? There's some things I can help you with. I was an emergency manager. I kind of was a master of disaster. So I think I could probably help you guys put some things in play that work for the show and work for the participants. So I'm hopeful. I think it's going to be great. I really would like to get people more exposed to history and get them out there and work. I really, really like, obviously Tread Lightly, been around forever, but the Utah Public Lands Alliance and the Blue Ribbon Coalition, they're doing some phenomenal work to keep our public lands open. And so I'm hoping that this show, we can use that as a marketing piece for them too, to say, look at what's here. Look what's in your backyard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the old, I don't know if it was the federal government that did the Go Outside campaign. I think we need to really reinvigorate that folks can do this, and there's tour guides and companies and groups that will take you out and show you the ropes without doing that. So I'd like to get into that, more of the expeditions, and even if it's a day trip or 2 days, and get people to some of these locations all over the West. So that's what I would love to do. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be fantastic, man. I think that's part of what I think one of the things that people really need to understand is why that trail exists there, why it's important to save it, why it's important to keep 300 miles of trails open in an area that you've never heard of before. And it's because those roads exist there for a reason, and if you go there, you can find out why. And
I think that's where we need to, rather than, I'm not a huge litigation guy. I understand that it has to be done sometimes.
That's why we got Ben at the BRC.
Yeah. I mean, they have to do it, but they're very calculated when they bring it to that step, because it costs a lot of money for litigation. And a lot of times he's litigating against people that just truly don't understand overlanding, off-roading, responsible recreation. They just want to save the turtle, or they think that tree that there's 10 million of them is somehow endangered because the Jeep drives through. My problem that I've had even at Sand Mountain, while we need the side-by-siders and they need to have a place to go, the suspension is so good on those new side-by-sides that they're actually tearing the trails up because they can go so fast. The Jeep folks we're going there slow. We're big, slow animals. We're not tearing trails. We're not breaking trails. But the other problem is the sheer quantity. You know, there's an economic driver to say, yes, we need all these people to visit our area. But then you reach that tipping point when you can't, the land can't support the amount of economic drivers that are coming in.
Yeah.
And I know they're trying to and Ben and the team at BRC, they are really, they're kicking butt. They're trying hard. He's doing so much stuff. I had a conversation with him a couple months ago about some things, but tax revenues are down. You know, they need that revenue to keep the businesses open. But then it gets to that point where your Mother Nature can't support that much activity in a certain area. And that's the other reason to keep those trails open, because you're adding stress. If somebody goes to Moab and 300 miles of Moab are closed, well, they're going to find somewhere else to go. It's not that they're going to say, well, I'm going to go back to Colorado because Moab's closed. No, they're going to go find a trail, and they're putting added stress on that trail. Whereas if you could have spread it out through the entire BLM system, the overall net stresses would be down. And that's why Sand Mountain has a lot of issues, because it's such a compact area. The stress is on that Sand Mountain and it constantly changes. And
I think, and I think part of the effort, and I've seen the last years, especially now, has been a bigger effort on breaking new trails so that there's more places for people to go.
Yep.
And I support that. I think, you know, based on, you know, that last year's Trail Hero was my first, and even then it felt crowded at times. And
oh yeah,
you know, and that's, I know that's at a big event, and I know there was a lot of vehicles there for that event, but I could see how that translates into a regular weekend and it's still being a really busy time and hard to get through.
Yeah. And when we guide these trails, we have 25 to 20 to 30 rigs, I'd say, you know, averaging 20, 25. And it's tough because you're getting people that may have just bought the Jeep and it's still got the temp tag on it from the dealership. They've done nothing to it and they're going to wheel. And
and you're like, oh, you picked the Fallen today. Good call.
Yeah. I messed up my steering rack because I was a tail gun and somebody backed down an obstacle and I had to back out of their way, and I landed on the steering rack and my steering wheel was, you know, turned sideways because it hit so hard and my alignment went out. And so, you know, that's part of the other issue though, is these folks go out there with little to no experience and they just rip. They rip through. And you know, the sad thing is I've been out there, Desert Rats and Trails or UPLA, they do the winter 4x4 jamboree to build new bathrooms and pit toilets and do that and make that stuff really nice for the participants. And I go there and it's full of garbage and beer cans. And I wish these folks could understand that what they're doing is destroying, and what'll happen is it'll just be closed.
Right.
If you don't respect the land and respect the facilities and pack it out. So we really need to spend some time. And I had a conversation with Ben a little bit about helping him, you know, craft some messages and some social media. But we really need to spend that time to educate the public that, hey, this is your playground, but if you shit in the sandbox, they're going to close it.
Yeah. I mean, we, you know, Ben's been on here a number of times. In fact, he was on here for episode 100, and I'm sure by the time this airs, he'll have been on multiple more times. We've had Lauren on from UPLA, and and a couple local groups, Marcus here with Core in Colorado. And like, it's the same story every time. And it's that we're winning more fights these days, but we still have a lot of we have a lot of room to go. We have a lot of education to do, because there's a ton of people that join the sport, especially around COVID, that didn't get an education. They didn't get any kind of hey, this is how you do it and this is how you're supposed to go. And it's funny, I had a conversation with some folks here that manage the what they call Rampart Range, which is just a large area behind the house here that is a trail system. And, you know, their comment was, you know, it's not the kids that they've got a problem with either. It's the people our age and just a little bit younger. Those are the folks that feel entitled to just leave their garbage every place. And the kids understand, like, if you abuse it, you're going to lose it. And they're the ones out there picking up after us.
Yeah, and that bugs me every time I see trash. Like, come on, I generate it, I bring it home. I
Yeah.
throw it away at a gas station when we stop
Yeah.
for fuel. It's super easy. I just don't understand why that is a thing. Like,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be,
We'll
guys.
get there.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
eventually. So
We'll get there. We just got to keep pounding and pounding the pavement, and then when you see it, comment on it, and yeah, bring a trash bag with you. Expect to pick up other people's stuff because sometimes people suck, and it's better that we clean it up after ourselves or clean up after our own user groups than leave it for other people to take pictures of and use against us.
yep, exactly.
I'm gonna give you the last question then for you here. So after you've done all this, right? You did wheeled for a number of years, and you decided you were going to do this on 33s, mind you. Did you have the smallest tires on this trip?
I don't think so. I think the Forerunner did at 30,
Oh, that's
30s,
okay.
or I think they might have had 29s. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to talk to him about that one. All right, so well, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who was looking to apply for season 2?
Well, the advice for season 2, if you're
I like the hesitation. I really do.
Oof.
It's delicious.
that's a tough one. I'm glad this isn't live. Yeah, as long as you're confident in yourself,
Yeah,
and confident in your machine, and you just take time. There were so many times that my Jeep went into park, and I got out and I just surveyed. I didn't have a spotter. I didn't have anybody with me. I got out and looked, and just navigated the obstacle. Did it always go right? Absolutely not. But it's not about speed. It's about skill. And if you're confident in your machine, we had every type of vehicle there, from mild to wild, built to budget. Yeah. So you can't, mine's middle top of the road for a build, because it does have the higher end, components, the drive lines, 1 tons and all that stuff. And I just choose to run a smaller tire. And that's, Michael and Rich and all them can make fun of my 33s. I don't really care. Well, I don't have anything to prove. And the other thing is, don't prove anything to anybody but yourself.
Yeah.
And if you come in with that mindset, I didn't know what to expect. I thought it would be a cool experience. I still do. I'm excited for the future with the show. And I think season 2 is just going to get better and better.
Yeah.
We were the guinea pigs. So all the kinks, most of the kinks were on us. So if I was bitchy in the show, I'm sorry. But I don't like people touching my rig. And I made sure the production team knew that I pay way too much money and put way too much sweat into that Jeep for somebody to go play around with my tires.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
Those are, if it's one thing if it's all of us buddies screwing around and we're at camp and play a trick on somebody, but these are strangers.
Right.
And that it didn't sit well with me. I was already hot and sweaty from the hike. So I was already kind of on the cranky edge of that, because I'm not a hiker. But would I do it again? Absolutely. Would I have a co-driver? 100%. I think that would definitely make it. But part of me was, can I do it myself? It was a self-proving thing. Can I do it myself? Can I do this?
Yeah. Well, and if nothing else, like, you gave Rich that ability to find out if a solo person could or couldn't do it.
Correct.
Or what their experience was like. And
right.
I think between you and Fran, you got a good idea of that.
It's totally possible if you know your rig, and you have that's the biggest thing. You have to know your rig. It doesn't have to be built. It doesn't have to be a rock crawling buggy with every bell and whistle, but need to know your machine.
Yeah. And how it responds, right? Like
exactly.
I wouldn't recommend something like this to somebody who's in their first year of wheeling or second year of wheeling. Like,
no,
it's too complex. There's too many moving pieces. Not even adding the production piece of things. Just getting from point A to point B for 5 days straight.
Yeah, exactly. You're 100% correct. So, and if you do go with, maybe pick somebody that can be your co-driver that knows the area or knows wheeling and can help you, but then that adds another layer of difficulty.
Potential complication, right?
Well, yeah, because if the co-driver is not comfortable with your rig, are they a good spotter? Do you have enough experience with them? So there's, how many times have you wheeled together to where you have an ultimate comfort in them and you trust your rig with that person? So
yeah,
that always isn't. And how do people react under stress? The problem is, when we're in a stressful situation, I lived it. I was trained to deal with the stress. Not everybody is. And I don't always deal with it well. I'll tell you that right now. It sucks, but
Yeah.
you get some people in a stressful situation and they completely panic.
Yeah.
Well, if you're the driver or the co-driver and you're panicking for 5 days straight, the experience is horrible for everybody.
Yeah.
So, I didn't panic, but I was definitely uncomfortable at many different times. And I feel like that's a growth thing. Like I saw areas that I never saw before. And that was the goal. The goal was to get out and explore, find out what works, push myself, push the rig, not break anything, not do anything crazy, but be able to set camp up and wake up with coffee at a different location every day.
Yeah, dude.
If you just take that out of it, that you're going on a 5-day driving camping trip and have no other preconceived notions on what it could be, you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the camera crew, forget about all the other stuff. Just do a 5-day camping trip, make and break camp every day, be ready for that. And bring a bathroom.
Yeah. And bring a bathroom. Don't expect that you're going to find one at a Maverick every single day.
Because I'm telling you that my OVS awning with the Dometic flushing toilet is amazing. I'm serious. You can't dig a hole. You don't want to be doing that in the desert anymore. So when they say pack in, pack out, it's everything. And I'm telling you, bring a toilet and maybe a geyser system shower from our friends up in Colorado.
See, there you go.
I have one. I just was too tired to use it. I literally have one.
Hey, you know what? I brought a lot of stuff on this trip I was way too tired to use.
How did you feel that pain? How did you even sleep with the stuff piled up in the camper? Did you just kind of cuddle around all of your junk that was piled in there?
No, there was nothing piled in it. I would slide that all underneath the Jeep at night, or underneath the trailer.
Oh, okay, okay. Because when I did see your camper, it was buried in the sand and that stuff was everywhere.
Yeah, it was just, it was too much. And the funny part about that is all I was trying to do was get out of the camera shot for the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And I went wide and there was soft sand, and I had brand new KO3s that didn't realize I could go down to 12 with. And I probably could have gotten out if I just gone all the way down to 12. I was at 20. Well, that was too low.
Yeah.
You live, you learn.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad none of us got stuck except for you.
Thanks a lot.
I think you were literally the only one that got stuck in the whole week.
I am, and I think I'm the only one that officially got lost. But in my defense, I was given 3 sets of directions, and then
none
didn't
of them were
follow
correct.
my own.
Yeah,
none of them were correct, not to the letter anyway. And I didn't follow my own advice, being a writer for Trails Off Road, that just maybe not take anybody's advice, ditch everyone's stuff, and just figure out my own route, which would have gotten us there before sunset at the canyon.
Mm-hmm.
So now the plus side of that, and I will tell you this as an aside, waking up the way I did because I hadn't seen it in all of its glory at that afternoon was a magic moment. So there was that. So I still would have rather have gotten there before dark.
I you know what? But there is something. So when I was on my 30-day overlanding trip, I would make camp in the dark a lot of times because I underestimated where I was going to go. And the morning reveal is actually pretty epic. So you didn't, I mean, it would have been, I wish we could have spent a little more time at the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
That would have, but to have my tent backed up to where I can unzip one window and look at the Colorado and see the sunrise. That was epic. That was epic.
It's a highlight. And I'm going to put your picture of that up here as well as mine. And then we can make everybody jealous of that particular moment.
Yeah.
Like, that was probably the best day.
That was absolutely the best. I mean, to be on the north rim of the Grand Canyon, that made the whole week, and all the trials and tribulations and all the stress was like, holy cow, I'm at the north rim of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And
like, I almost move that sooner in the week so you get that grandiose moment sooner, just to make you feel better.
Yeah. Well, or you could, the challenge could be that you have to winch we're going to throw your car keys down to the first ledge and you have to figure out how to get down and get them.
Oh, good Lord. You're even hardcore. You're more hardcore than the production meetings we had about this.
Nah.
This is amazing, Keenan. All right. I like your ideas though. I think you put them up there, right? You gave them all?
Yeah, I let a few out. So, I mean, I think that'd be great. Winch figure out how to get it.
Okay. I like it. It's not a terrible idea, man.
I'm not saying someone's car keys, but the old put a tennis ball or something and see,
Yeah,
there's
like you drop something down there because that's what happens.
Yeah, something more tech, and that's what I told the production team. I said, just make it more technical, less gimmicky. Like,
Okay.
it's
fair.
Make it so I have to use my brain and my machine or work together with others, because it didn't have to be individual or team, and there was,
and I think you can do that within
Yeah.
the confines of a reality show.
or we take one of their vehicles and you have to winch it. Who can winch it the fastest?
Right.
But one of their vehicles from my vehicle.
Right.
Not so there's no risk to me that I'm winching their rig, and they put them there and say, okay, you have 10 minutes to rig it, and the time starts in 10 minutes to pull this vehicle 10 feet.
Yeah.
The first one to do it, so you give them, okay, here's your setup time. You got 5 minutes to set it up. And then your time starts in 5 minutes. So set it up, get going, hook it up, and then winch. And the first one across the line, that's your time. Something like that would be, because then I would do like a 8-to-1 mechanical advantage or something, and just but what people don't realize is every time you do that, it makes the winch line run slower. So you're better to do a straight line pull, because everybody's going to think about it and go, oh, I want to do a direction change, a mechanical advantage. I want to get this thing moving. Well, they don't realize physics are every time you change direction, the winch speed decreases.
Right.
Whereas if the winch can pull it in a straight line pull, the guy that walks up and goes click, waits for 5 minutes and okay, I'm ready to go, and just and pulls it, he would win. So stuff like that would be fun.
Well, so here's the fun part about this, Keenan, is every time I have a new guest on the show, is I recognize that when I have somebody that I can tap for different types of content and information when we record shows, and you sort of have managed to very finely niche yourself into the science and the math portion of of what we do, because it's important. This is important stuff.
Is it because
and
I wrote
especially there? Yeah, good Lord. Because
I had to put another plug.
By all means, you put all the plugs in there you need to. The thing is you and I are both solo wheelers, and it's you have got to know some of this stuff. You've got to know some of the sciencey stuff, just because you're going to be by yourself. You're not going to have a team of guys to help winch you out. You might need to figure out, I need to put a snatch block up here and then another one here because I got to change direction, and like you got to understand what the stresses are that's going to do and all those kinds of things. Because even when you know everything, you might still blow your steering pump.
Well,
ask me how I know.
And I don't want to ask you about your steering pump, because I already can feel your pain. I've never blown a steering pump. I will tell you, the guys that I look at for the most for a lot of the winch are the Australians. Yeah. Those guys are crazy talented with the winching and the different. I kind of got a little bit of info that there was going to be a winching challenge. So I brushed up on physics and was like, okay, I want to look at all these scenarios. And I started Googling, okay, a 2-to-1 mechanical advantage, a direction change. How can I, and I even put in Google in YouTube, how can I winch backwards with my front winch? Cause I'm thinking, okay, if I get myself into a jam and I can't go forward, I know there's a way to do it with a direction change in the front and a 2-to-1 advantage, that you can actually use your front winch to pull yourself backwards. It literally can happen. So I was brushing up on that. Like, okay, I may get stuck somewhere where they tell you, okay, you got to pull yourself back up. I thought the challenges were really going to be on the trail. You're going to pull up to something and there's a log in the way. And they go, well, you can either choose to climb over this said tree, or you have to figure out how to get a winch strap around it and winch it out of the way to make your path clear. And then they would reset the challenge and put it in front of somebody else.
Interesting.
I thought stuff like that would have been more Survivor-ish. Like, holy crap, I'm stuck with this big old tree in the way. Okay.
By myself.
Like I
can't,
or a team of two, or there's another vehicle pulls up and you have to, the rules are X, and you have to move this tree with only what you have on your rig.
Right. And I like that. Yeah.
Or trash can chili cook-off on the last day.
I was already, you're not the first person I've talked to about whether or not we should have more food related challenges. And I wholeheartedly endorse that.
Well, and I think that's something that, if it's brought up before that says, okay, on the last night at camp, bring your best recipe and
Yeah.
share with everybody, and we'll judge it. And that it would have been fun. I don't have any
Yeah.
great recipes. I grew up with an Italian grandma, so I can make pasta with the best of them. But camping wise, I'm not, I'm not a fancy camper. I'll cook whatever. And, I made this super simple because I already mentally was preparing that there's already going to be a lot going on. So
Yeah.
oatmeal in the breakfast coffee and salami sandwiches and hot dogs, and chips. And that was literally my whole cadre of food, plus some dehydrated meals if I wanted pasta or whatever. So I really expected that, like, before camp, there's or a make camp challenge. Who can open their rooftop tent? Who can close it? As we found, there's some competitors that didn't even know how to close their own tent.
Yeah.
So that should
Yeah,
have been, if you can't close it, you got to run it.
Yeah, no. I think there's it's one of those things where I feel like we all kind of learned a lot about what we did and didn't like about it. Like
Mhm.
I'm kind of with you. I think it would have been nice to have a little more camp time and a little less mileage per day.
Yeah.
Especially considering the production needs and things like that. But again, this is the first time anyone's ever done anything like this. Rich has done shows and stuff before and been a part of those things, but never this kind of schedule, never this kind of a, back to back to back. Like, I got as frustrated as I was at certain times. I got to the end of it, I'm just like, good Lord, I can't believe we just did all that. I can't believe we just pulled all that off.
Yeah, exactly.
And would you do it again?
Absolutely.
That's good.
I wouldn't do it as a cast member.
Okay.
I mean, I would have a co-driver. I would definitely,
like, if you could. Yeah, I mean, you can't because you can't once you've done the show.
Yeah,
but
I've done.
Okay.
But would I go on epic adventures with friends? Absolutely, every day of the week if I could.
Awesome.
So
okay,
without a TV crew, probably preferred. And it's not their fault. I mean, it's just the movie magic of it was super stressful.
No, 100%. What I think we should do is after the show airs, and maybe in the spring or maybe late fall, we should have like a reunion run where we all just go out and do a smaller, shorter run where there's no cameras. We just go around and we go hang out.
And we park at the Grand Canyon so you can see the sunset and the sunrise.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. So I can see both.
And actually, I've told several people that that's a run that I want to redo, and I want to stay there for like 3 days.
Yeah, and there's plenty of place to do it too.
Yeah.
There's so many places to camp down there.
Yeah, I want to just go camp for 2 or 3 days and just enjoy it, because that was the other thing. I wish there was more time in camp. You're right. Yeah. We got there so late. Sometimes we didn't have enough time to just enjoy and relax. And I never even put out a camp chair, not once. Literally never had I was either making camp, cooking some food, or going to bed, and that was literally and clearing cards of footage.
Yeah,
I usually did that before bed. So
yeah, it was always something to do, man. It was always something to do. All right. Well, we should probably get you out of here. It's we've run longish. Anything else we should know about Keenan before we get out of here, man?
I think you covered it all.
Oh, I don't never say that. There's plenty of room for that. Well, I guarantee it. I guarantee you there's more about Keenan.
We'll do that on another episode. Okay. Stay tuned. More coming soon.
You've been interviewed on the show, so you're welcome back for all our live shows if you want to come in and sit down. I don't know if you drink or not, but you can have a drink and sit, and we all hang out for an evening and just BS about news and whatever's going on.
Okay. I think I could. I mean, we've been on for 2 hours and 12 minutes, so that should give you enough content.
Oh, there's an hour and a half worth of show in here. Plus, I'm gonna tell you this right now, as a person who has to edit his own videos, this is gonna be such an easy edit. Like, there's so little I have to do. Like, this has been fantastic. So thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. So if you want to learn more about Keenan Campbell and Overlanding with Intention, you can check him out at overlandingwithintention.com. You're also Alpha Foxtrot JKU on Instagram, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. All right. So one more time, that's going to be overlandingwithintention.com. And what's the name of the book?
Systems of Emergency Management. Available on Amazon.
Keenan D. Campbell. Available on Amazon. There you go, buddy. See, we'll link direct to it. I'll get you. I got you, man. I'm here for the plugs, man. We're all just trying to make it.
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Well, like I said, you're welcome back anytime. It was really fun to get to know you in the desert, and just you're part of this group of people that we all share this really unique experience that I don't think it's just going to be fun to revisit year after year, especially in these types of situations. So
Yeah, it will be.
here's hoping I can work out a reunion show too.
I think we will, for sure.
Okay, that's awesome.
But we'll have to do it live from the Grand Canyon via satellite.
I mean, if I get one Starlink going, that's all we need, man. It's easy to do.
We had
easy.
We had 6 of them there.
I know we had a lot of coverage. We had a lot of coverage for a bunch of people off grid.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh boy. All right. Cool, man. Well, thank you very much for joining us. And thanks to all of you for riding along with us this week and let us be part of your off-road adventures. Safe travels on and off road. As always, stay the trail, and we'll see you next time at the trailhead. Night, everybody.